Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, my loverlies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. So, guys, there have been so many amazing palette releases in the last couple of days, and my broke behind is so jealous because I can't buy any of them. And one that has intrigued me so much, there are so many, but the one that I just kind of thought was so pretty is the new Nomad Valley, oh my god, the Sleepy Hollow palette, the Hudson Valley palette from Nomad Cosmetics. Now, that is what the actual palette looks like. Is she not absolutely stunning? So you've got half warm tones, half cool tones with a row of shimmers down the center. I think it is absolutely stunning. Really beautiful color story. Fall in a palette, right? But I can't afford this palette. This palette is $40. It's $39. I can't afford this palette. And I got to thinking, I was like, well, surely I have shades in my collection that I can dupe and that I can kind of try to throw something together that would maybe make me feel like I'm not missing out on too awful much. So that's what this video is about. We're going to try to pull from my collection because especially in this economy, I don't, and I know that you probably don't have the money to be spending every other week, spending $40, $50, $60 on a new palette just because something is released that catches your fancy. If you're anything like me, you have a pretty, substantial makeup collection already, so there's got to be shades in our collections that we can dupe for this palette. Y'all, I hunted through my entire collection, trying to find colors that matched as closely to the palette as I could, and I think I did really well. And I managed to find most of the matte shades in 2 separate palettes. So the first of which is ironically enough, the Nomad by Juvias Place. Now this is one of my very favorite Juvias Place palettes. It is such this is a fall palette, to be sure. It's got beautiful grungy mustardy yellows and army greens. It's an absolutely spectacular palette. And most of the shades in here are mirrored in the Nomad palette on the cooler toned side. So I figured we could use this as the cool tone side. And then on the warmer tone side, it was a bunch of very kind of earthy warm tones. And I wanted to find a palette that had the earthy warm tones. But then I also noticed in the Nomad palette, there was a solid white there, and there was a gray. There was a little bit of like a bluey, smoky morning sky color that was really pretty. So again, I went through all of my palettes and I settled on the Beauty Bay Bright Matte palette. And there are tones in here I feel like that mirror the warm tone side on the Nomad palette like perfectly. So I'm using both of these palettes on my eye today. We're going to pull this eye look together. We're going to do it together. It is so incredibly easy to do. And the best part is that I love both the Juvias Place and the Beauty Bay formulas. They're incredibly easy to work with. So this eye look is going to come together lickety-split super quickly. It's going to be effortless. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be all the things we love about eye makeup with none of the hassle. So this is what the eye look looks like. What do you think? I think she is so pretty. I went for like more of a matte inner corner highlight. I tried to incorporate some of the cooler tones and the warmer tones. To my surprise, they actually blended together incredibly easy, and they look so pretty. I feel like it looks like a very fall eye look, and of course it's all matte because I love an all matte eye look. And second of all, I had a hard time trying to find duplicates for the shimmers. in the Nomad palette in my collection. My collection is, to be fair, pretty matte heavy anyway. I am in desperate need of shimmer palettes. I am, if I ever hit the lotto. Anyway, I didn't have a ton of options for these shimmer shades, but what I did find that I think has pretty comparable tones in it is this one. So this is the Desperate Dreamer palette from Rude Cosmetics. Now in the Nomad palette, I noticed that there was a peachy red shimmer, there was a like lime green shimmer, and then a bright yellow shimmer as well. So I was using this shimmer. I thought this shimmer right here, though it's not as sparkly and beautiful as the Nomad, I thought this shade was pretty comparable. And then also this shimmer right here, I thought was pretty comparable to the green shimmer in the palette. So I want to swatch these for you really quickly. So there is the green shade. Very, very pretty. Nice and reflective, not as glittery as the Nomad shadows usually are, but comparable enough. And then for the peachy red shimmer, I thought this one might work. Very, very, very pretty shimmer. It's got that kind of peachy overtone with a slightly more red undertone to it. I thought these two were pretty similar. I did watch a ton of videos because, you know, Heather Austin and Angelica Nyqvist, they both got the palette. They both did videos on it, and their looks were absolutely stunning. But they did both swatch the palette as well. And I tried to compare the swatches to the swatches that I did of the colors that I picked, and they are so super, super close. I am so excited. I really, really think that it is so possible to dupe some of these palettes with shades that you already have in your collection. There are only so many colors in the rainbow. There are only so many different tones and different, you know, slight adjustments that you can make to colors. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, it's not discernible once you get it onto the eye. So using shades already existing in our collection, I really, really feel like you can get the same vibe, the same feel as the Nomad palette without having to spend the money on it. As much as I love Nomad Cosmetics, and as much as if I had the money, I would buy the palette in a heartbeat, guys, we just don't have it like that. So we're just going to dupe it in our collections. I am so super excited about today's video. If there are any other palettes that you would like to see if we could dupe, please let me know in the comments below. I think I'm going to try to make this a new mini series on my channel, seeing if I can dupe new releases, because y'all, a recession is coming, and I know if you're anything like me, we just don't have the money to be spending buying new palettes all the time. And I don't like feeling like I'm missing out. This way, we don't have to feel like that at all whatsoever. So I don't have anything on my face except a little bit of moisturizer, and then I also put a little bit of my facial oil on. This is my Olay Jojoba Oil Serum. This is so good. Absorbs really quickly into the skin, but it's all I have on my face at the moment. I do have a little bit of my eyeshadow primer on already, so I'm using my Wet n Wild Rose Photo Focus Eyeshadow Primer. Great eyeshadow primer. I like it very, very much. As you can tell, I already have swatches of everything that we're going to use today. I think the warm tones are like spot on. I am so, so stoked. And each one of these tones is found in one palette. That is the reason I love big, giant, colorful palettes like this one. This is from Beauty Bay. It's the Bright Mattes. Guys, I got this on sale. It's usually around like $25 at retail, or full price. It's $25. I was able to get this palette on sale in a bundle. I got this and the Brights, the regular Brights. It's got mattes and shimmers in it. I got both of these 42 color palettes for $25. So basically I got a buy one get one. It is an insane, incredible deal. And then you have all of these really beautiful colors to play with. So the Beauty Bay Brights, the Juvias Place Nomad. We're going to start with the Juvias Place palette. We're going to start with this color right here. The Juvias Place, they don't have shade names, but we're going to go into the darkest green matte in the palette. We're going to take a small kind of crease brush. I like to call this a small fluffy blender, but it is a fluffy crease brush. We're going to take that into that darkest matte green. And we're going to start to pack this onto the outer corner of the eye. This is going to come together so quickly. And I think the thing about the Nomad palette, the reason it is so eye-catching and the reason it seems so innovative is because it's basically two palettes in one. So on one side you have all of those really yummy, warm-toned reds and oranges, and then on the other side you have this more kind of grungy, smoky, gray-green kind of color story. And I think the juxtaposition and the contrast of the two color stories comes together to make it seem super interesting. And then to add to it, you have that center of really gorgeous, glittery, reflective shimmer shadows right down the center. And that's going to be what bridges the gap between the warm tones and the cool tones. I think the color story is incredibly thought out and well executed. Y'all, it was so pretty. I was watching Angelica and Heather play with their palettes, and I was literally drooling. I was frothing at the mouth. I was like, oh my goodness gracious, it is so beautiful. I'm a sucker for fall makeup anyway. I just think it is so pretty. It's so flattering on everybody, no matter your face shape, skin tone, eye color. It doesn't matter. Fall colors just look good on everybody. And I think there's a comfort thing to it as well, right? When we think of fall, we think of warm, cozy sweaters and, the leaves changing, and we think of it's just cozy and comforting and nostalgic, right? So I think that lends to the palette also kind of having, tugging at our heartstrings just a little bit, because we see it and we instantly connect it to, all of the warm, cozy things we love about fall. And especially the way that the makeup space is right now, it's all about buy. And you got, we're not in the kind of economy right now where I feel like the whole buy mentality is going to work out for all of us. You know what I mean? Like, if you have it like that, and if you can go online or go in store and you can go pick up a $40 palette and not bat an eyelash, babe, I am so happy for you. What's it feel like? But 99% of us, probably not that high, but most of us just don't have it like that. And I think the feeling like you're missing out is probably one of the suckiest feelings. It's just like, I don't like it. But why have to suffer with the FOMO if we don't have to? So I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to go in to this really gorgeous, sparkly mustard yellow. And I'm going to take this through the rest of my transition. I'm going to take it through probably the center third of my transition area. And it blends effortlessly into the green. I'm going to slightly overlap the two. I'm keeping the shape of this eye nice and rounded and kind of smoky. I'm just kind of following the natural shape of my orbital socket and gently building up this green right into the center of my eye, just like that. I'm going to take the same brush. I'm going to clean it off on my towel again. And then we're going to go into the Beauty Bay palette. So it's nice and clean. We're going to go into the Beauty Bay and we're going to dip into the solid white in here now. And we're going to place this white kind of like an inner corner highlight. We're going to place it right here on the inner portion of the eye, bringing it onto the eyelid just the very inner corner of the eyelid, just a little bit. Really packing that on and blending that up into the yellow so we get a nice transition. Now at this point, you could add a shimmer all over the lid and be good to go. It would be an absolutely beautiful, beautiful eye look, but because I'm trying to dupe the palette and because I want to try to use as many colors in the palette as I can, we're going to add some yummy warm tones to the lid. So I'm going to take the same brush, I'm going to wipe it off again, and we're going to go into this really beautiful deep burgundy color. So this is called Head Over Heels. It is a really beautiful deep wine burgundy kind of color. Not exactly the same shade that is in the Nomad palette, but close enough. I think the shade that's in the Nomad palette is a little bit deeper and more purple leaning, whereas this one is a little bit more red leaning. But you work with what you've got. I'm going to take that on that same brush, and I'm going to start to pack it right on the outer corner of the lid. Now it's going to look super weird at first, and it's going to look like it doesn't belong, but as you blend it and as you kind of work the colors in together, it somehow magically just kind of blends together and morphs together in a way that is so pretty and so flattering. Now I'm not going to do a cut crease, I'm not going to do anything fancy, I'm really just packing matte shadows onto my eye. That is one of the most beautiful things about makeup, is if you take your time with it and are thoughtful about your placement, just about anything goes. So I'm slightly overlapping the green with the red, not taking that red too far up above my natural crease. I'm really just keeping it on the outer corner of my eyelid, just like that. But I do want to get a nice blend going, so that way they don't look too separate. Just like that. Now we can go back in with a little bit more green a little bit later if we think it's necessary. But for right now, I'm pretty happy with that. So we're going to take, again, the same brush, going to wipe it off on our rag, and then we're going to go into the shade Tangerine Dream. So this one right here, it's a really beautiful, very muted kind of mustardy orange. We're going to take that same brush, and we're going to gently overlap that right up the center of the lid. We're going to keep the inner corner of the eyelid nice and clear. We don't want any deeper pigment there. We're just going to kind of pack and overlap these two shades and get a little bit of a gradient started. I'm going to go into the shade Just Peachy now. So this one right here, it's got a little bit more of that like light browny orange tone, and I'm just going to slightly start tapping that a little bit closer to the inner corner, working on my gradient, just like that. So now we have a really gorgeous gradient going on the actual lid. I'm going to wipe my brush off. I'm going to go back in to that Head Over Heels color, that deep red, just a little bit, and I'm going to start building up a little bit more depth out here, just kind of tapping it on to my outer V, pressing that shadow in, just like that. I'm going to take the same brush. It's a lot of back and forth, back and forth. This is a very blendy kind of eye look. I'm going to go back into my Juvias Place palette and back into that deep green. And I'm going to take this through the crease. And slightly onto the outer V as well. Just to kind of merge the red and green together. Build up a little bit of depth. Very, very gentle pressure. Circular buffing motions. Just like that. And then you get that really beautiful amount of depth on the outer corner. Everything is blended. Everything looks gorgeously like morphed into each other. Everything's nicely married. We're going to take the same brush and we're going to dip into a different yellow really quickly, making sure I get most of this pigmentation off of my brush. I'm going to dip into the shade Hello Sunshine, which is this really beautiful bright matte yellow. And we're going to take this through that center portion of the transition. This is what's going to bring most of the warmth to our crease and our transition. So we want to go pretty heavy on the yellow. I'm also going to bring it just a little bit further out. Like that, kind of wrap the green and a little bit of that yellow as well, just to get a nice smoky effect going on. So now we're going to go into the shade, this is called Bare Necessity, and it's this shade right here. It is a beautiful, like, very, like, beige skin toned shade. And we're going to tap this onto the inner portion of the lid. This is going to bring a little bit of that neutrality to the eyelid, and it's going to help everything blend in a little bit better. It's going to take it from looking like a kind of Christmassy eye look and kind of mirror a little bit of that warmth onto the lid. So you have this really beautiful gradients building on the eye. So you have nice, deep, dark, rich tones on the outer corner. And then it fades into that really beautiful neutrality on the inner corner. I think it is so, so pretty. We're going to clean it up just a little bit. I'm going to take my Q-tip and my simple eye makeup remover. Clean up just a touch of that red fallout. And I think the lower lash line is what brings this look together. We're going to take a nice rich brown and we're going to fluff that out onto the lower lash line. I'm going to take my e.l.f., this is my e.l.f. smudge brush. It is just a flat, thin, stiff kind of brush. We're going to go into the shade Preppy Pecan. This one right here, really beautiful, rich, kind of chocolatey brown tone. Just focusing the pigment right on the tip of our brush. We're going to kind of smudge that right on the lower corner. We're going to connect that outer corner. Bring that through the eye. We're not going to go super hard on it. You see, even just that little, it just kind of finishes the eye and wraps the eye in that more neutral tone, and somehow it just helps all of the colors mesh and play together in such a really, really beautiful way. Not going super big on the lower lash line, just smudging a little bit on there, just to kind of get that smoky effect on the lower lash line, making sure to connect it to the green so there's no gaps. We want our eye to look like it's wrapped in this really beautiful smoky kind of color. Just like that, taking the same brush, I'm going to wipe it off on my towel one more time, and I'm going to go into the shade Nothing Else. So this one right here, it is a very, very light skin toned color. And I'm going to press this onto the inner corner of my lower lash line. And it just really helps to brighten up that inner portion of the eye, because there's so much darkness and so many dark kind of contrasting colors going on. It's really easy for it to be like a little bit overwhelming. So you want that really bright, really neutral inner corner to kind of help balance out that outer corner. And I think the juxtaposition on the eye, the contrasting colors on the eye, really work together in such a way that is so, so, so incredibly flattering. One more kind of blend through the crease to make sure everything's blended. There's no harsh lines or edges. I do apologize. My eyes are watering so bad. But there we go. And then the pièce de résistance is, and what's really just going to bring everything together, we're going to take a black eyeliner. You could 100% use a really rich, deep brown instead of black if you're more comfortable with that. But I'm going to line both my upper and lower waterlines. And what this does is it finishes the eye. It really gives you a little bit of structure. It gives a little bit more structure to the eye. It adds a little bit more drama. A little bit more of that kind of like smoky, mysterious quality. And I think that it finishes off the eye so perfectly. Of course, add a little bit of mascara. I will do that. I won't force you guys to watch me put on my mascara. But I do want to add a little bit of a shimmer to the brow bone and inner corner. I want to use something super, super light because I just love the way that the all matte eye look looks. But I do want to bring just a little bit more light to the party. So I'm going to go into my Rude, it's the Desperate Dreamer. My Rude Desperate Dreamer palette. And let's go into Happening. So this one right here, it's really beautiful, very soft, peachy shimmer. We'll take that on my pencil brush and do the smallest amount right at the inner corner. And then the tiniest amount up here on the brow bone. Just under the highest part of the arch of the brow, just to bring a little bit of reflectiveness and a little bit of light to the party. It's not really adding any color, it's just adding a little bit of shine. And then the tiniest bit on the very, very inner corner as well. I think it is so, so pretty. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please let me know if there are any other palettes that you think that this would be fun to try with. I am so excited about this new concept. I know it's nothing revolutionary, but I am having so much fun with it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. As always, no filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting in front of my camera, playing with some makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. I will, of course, list everything that I used in today's video in the description box below, along with the tags to all my other social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. I always post finished pictures over on Instagram and Facebook. Guys, make sure you go over there, follow me, check it out. Make sure you're following me everywhere so you don't ever have to miss a moment of content. And until next time, my beautiful, amazing mamas, I love you so, so very much. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.